1 minute. Five, four, three, two, one.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Well Encounter, live from the Amplify Network. I'm your host, Pastor Ray, or Ray Jackson, and I am so happy to be with you all this evening. Listen, you all have been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this, and it is going to be an amazing night. We are set up, and let me just tell you a little bit about the Well. The Well is a ministry for growth, for consciousness, and it is all about asking the right questions. We want to ask the right questions to help you dig deeper and find the right answers for you. If you are watching, I want you to like this. I want you to share this. I want you to leave a comment. Let us know that you're watching. I know that there are already a couple of people that are on. Just say hi to us. Let us know you're there. But definitely share this, like this, put you a little heart up there, put a smiley face, whatever you can to let us know that you're watching, and then share this with everybody in your network. It's going to be a dope conversation tonight. Listen, at the Well, we're about three things. What's up, Susie? I see Susie down there. Hey, Susie. We're talking about this. Listen, everybody, we want you to, like the woman at the well who met with Jesus, we want you to encounter the well, become the well, emerge and share the well. So if you encounter Jesus, become more like Jesus, emerge and share Jesus. That's how we got to that, because the woman of the well did just that with Jesus. What's up, Vanessa? What's up, Vanessa? So glad to see you. We have 5 P's. Everything that we do at the well should lead you down the path to the 5 P's. Those 5 P's are promise, power, purpose, passion. Promise, power, purpose, passion, and peace.
There you go.
Thank you. Passion, purpose, promise, peace, and power. We do believe that there's power in the Word of God. That's right. And then last but not least, we want to introduce the conversation to you tonight. So the conversation tonight we're having is this dope conversation about the intersection of hip-hop and church. Hip-hop and church. Can the two coexist? Can the two be in a right relationship? That's the question we're asking tonight. So listen, go follow the Amplify Network, follow Encounter the Well, and we're going to dive in. Welcome to the Well. We're going to welcome in our guests for this evening. There's a window going to pop up. There we are.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Listen, I am so ecstatic about tonight, guys. I'm trying to move over into my little square here. Yep, that way. Okay. I'm so ecstatic about tonight. There are tons of people watching from all over the world. We welcome everybody from Texas, people from California, people from Florida, people from New York, people from DMV. And we want everybody to just tune in with us in this conversation. What's up, Donald? Brother Donald, who's on. We're going to talk tonight about the intersection of hip-hop and church, but I just want to check in with you guys. We have some amazing, I have some amazing people with us this evening, and this is going to be a 3-part series, so get used to seeing their faces. Brendan, why don't we start with you, man? Why don't you give a quick introduction of who you are, where you're at, and what you do, man?
Oh, his face was priceless.
Yo, chill, bro. We're not doing this early. My name is Brendan Booz. Currently serving as the we're gonna go with the non-professional, the creative director of Pure Vibe LLC, and the content curator and creative director at blackmethodist.com. Man, here in Nashville, and I'm just ready to get started. I don't even want to do my intro, honestly. I'm just ready to get started because like I've been waiting for like a solid 30 years to have this conversation.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Listen. Brennan is my guy. That's the best word that I have for him. He's my guy,
It's my
man. Like
guy, bro.
Brennan
It's
and
my
I both
guy.
have done ministry together. We've been in different conferences and workshops together. And again, if you're watching from wherever you're watching, man, leave a note and let us know where you're watching from and how you're doing this evening. But that's my guy. The other dude, man, that's my brother from a different mother, same father, and I've known him for years as well. Why don't you introduce yourself, 3J?
I don't have an introduction either. But what's up, everybody? My name is Julian Jackson. Like he said, there's no relation. Same father, different mother. I go by the stage name 3J. I am a gospel lyricist. I go by the stage name 3J, which is for Jehovah God, Jesus Christ, and justice. Without those three, I believe we can't live or we can't survive. I am also a director of creativity for The Well. Thanks to my brother for putting me on. And I'm like Brennan right now. I'm ready to get into the conversation. It's been a long time waiting for this. So, yeah, let's just get to it. Let's just start.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Well, listen, I know Chris said he's watching from his car. What's up, Chris? Glad to have you on, man.
What's up, bro?
I see that Pastor Murray is on. I know he made a comment. I'm not sure where he made a comment at, but for some reason it did scroll over my thing, so I have to refresh. But I did see Pastor Tommy on. I'm glad that you're on, brother. And anybody else who's on that I'm not seeing at the moment, salute to you. Tonight's conversation is the intersection of hip hop and church. Can they coexist? And so what I want to start off with, what's up, brother Chris Diller? I see that you're on. Can we just talk about let's start with the question. Can they coexist? Do they? What is the relationship? And is the relationship between the church and hip hop a good relationship? Let's just start there.
Tag it, Brennan. Take it. Go ahead and take it first. Yeah, take it first. Take it first.
Brendan, I can't hear you, bro.
I be forgetting, bro. Yeah, man, you just gonna throw me into the flames now, but we ready for it. Man, the relationship between hip hop and the church. There is a relationship. I think there has to be one because of just the magnitude of the two cultures. But I don't think it's a positive one. I think the impact that both hip hop culture and the church has, like just on the world, they have to, in some ways, have a relationship. Or even if it's just an association, there's a relationship there, but I don't know that it's a positive one right now. So,
Yeah. Dude, what you say, brother?
I believe that they coincide. I can't believe that there is a relationship between them. However, I believe there's not an understanding between the two. And I believe that once both gain an understanding for each other, then they will be able to coexist the way they should, and actually the way that we wanted to coexist. So, yeah, I believe that relationship is there. I believe that both need an understanding of knowing who each other are in order to be able to accept each other.
Yeah, I think I think there is a relationship. I don't know that it's a healthy one right now. You know what I mean? Like I think that there's this sort of we'll deal with it the way we want to deal with it. And I think that's from both entities, right? Like I think the church sort of deals with hip hop when it wants to deal with it. It's almost this cliche thing of like, all right, we'll deal with hip hop if it reaches the young people at the young people's program, but it cannot be intertwined in the bigger mass appeal. And I think hip hop is done with the church in some ways just because of that, right? Like the church is like, if you don't accept me on my terms, then, whatever. And I'm sure, Brendan, you'll have a lot to say about that. But for our people who are watching, and Pastor Tommy says they have to exist if the church wants to reach this generation and the next. Brother Tommy, I totally agree. Also, shout out to Miss Nikki down in ATL and Brother Jawan who's watching. Listen, I asked this question. Let's define hip hop. What is hip hop? For those who are watching, for those who are like, I don't know, like, let's give it this definition. What is hip hop?
Now, are we getting to our own definition, or are we getting to what it
Sure,
actually is?
whatever you want to get to people, man.
First and foremost, I believe hip hop is a gift. I believe it's a musical gift that talented the people that want to use it know how to use it. It's God. Hip hop is, man. There's so much you can say about hip hop. It's storytelling. It's testifying. It's oh God, it's so much. Like I can't even put it in the words. But hip hop is a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. I don't believe it's in a way that it's been portrayed as a bad thing. I believe hip hop is probably the one most unique form of music that we have, along with jazz and classical music and stuff like that. But again, hip hop has its own identity. It has its own rugged, hard street thing about it. Like really, that's as hard as I can go into it.
But let me say this. I know Brennan's gonna say something, but what's dope is I just want to say this. What's up, Susie Q? I just gotta take a moment for everybody who's watching. This is the key that I think we miss. You said hip hop is a spiritual gift.
Yes, I do.
That's crazy by itself.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? Because that changes. Like when you say that, that changes my whole mentality about hip hop. Even for myself, hip hop is a spiritual gift. What if the church identify hip hop is a spiritual gift? Can you imagine that? Go ahead, Brennan. I don't want to start. I don't want to start.
I mean, if that would be happening, if that happened, then a lot of churches would have to repent. I mean, because you can't condemn spiritual gifts, but we'll talk about that later. Man, hip hop is expression, man. Hip hop is it's expression that was born out of nothing and things being taken away from a community, and you can't, like, you literally and that's the I was making faces earlier when we were saying, like, when you were saying the church is going to deal with hip hop the way they want to deal with it, and hip hop's going to deal with the church the way they want to deal with it, partially because, like, hip hop is that hip hop has changed, and not necessarily in a positive way. That didn't change my whole point. Because I mean, like, see, now we got to get into it, man. Now we here. We here. See, but that's the thing. It's like we can say that. We can absolutely say that all of hip hop isn't well, and all of hip hop isn't, I guess, personally edifying. But the thing that we have to do when we consider hip hop is consider it as just expression. It's people expressing what they live, what they go through, how they're feeling, just like any other music form. We don't necessarily look at it the same as we look at other music forms, but we don't criticize other music forms when they just tell their story, and that's all hip hop is doing. It's telling the story of what the people who have been through this and lived through this. This is their way of telling their story. And so for me, hip hop hasn't changed. Hip hop has always been about storytelling. The stories have changed, and we might not like the stories, but let's deal with what those stories are, and not necessarily the platform or the avenue people decide to express it in. Like if the same lyrics were put into a jazz song, it might be more appealing just because jazz is more appealing to a certain crowd than hip hop, and that's not fair to me. If we want to do that, if we want to have a problem with, just kind of the content, let's address why some of that content comes up, and why people feel the need to express this type of content. That would be my thing, is more of, thinking of, if I have a problem with what's being said, why do I have a problem with it, and how do I prevent that story from being told? From a standpoint of not necessarily presented from being told, but from a standpoint of how do I make it so that this person could never tell this story because they never went through that.
So then hip hop is a spiritual gift. I got to keep that in there, because spiritual gift means it is divinely given by God. I just want to make sure we understand that, right? A spiritual gift is divinely given to us by God. And then that gift allows us to tell stories about life.
And the Bible
Just
tells us.
like blues, just like the hymns, just like jazz, just like R&B, just like all the music that we listen to
Lord.
on a regular basis. Like it's just
Ah,
like it is what it is, bro. It's just like everything is about storytelling, and we didn't. I mean, like we don't look at blues and say blues has changed for the worse because the stories we're told weren't the best. We don't look at the hymns and say, oh my God, they were in the worst situations. How did they write these songs, or why were they telling these stories in this way? No, we look at it as like this is what they're going through and this is how they expressed it.
I just want to say, if you're watching, I want you to share this on your page, share this to your groups, share this as much as you can, like it and share it and leave comments. I see there's some comments, there's some beautiful comments. Pastor Tommy, hip hop is storytelling with a poetry flow to music with driving bass line. Hip hop is also a movement that involves music, clothing,
It's
and
something like I just agree as well.
that involves
Fashion,
music,
art, fashion,
clothing,
etc. I'm watching it. I got my phone. I got it on my phone right here too.
No problem, no problem.
Yeah.
Listen. So then, why is if hip hop is a spiritual gift, if it is a form of expression through clothing, art, music, then why is it rejected so much by the church?
Because of what people have done with it. Like people have literally taken hip hop and used it in ways to degrade people and let alone culture. It's lost its sense of originality because of what the mainstream media has done to it. It honestly has lost a lot because of what people have done to it, and because it is so secular now, a cuss word for the church. Since it's so secular now, the church doesn't want to deal with it anymore. It's like, no, we hear what they put out there. We hear what they put on the radio. We hear what these artists do now. No, it's not for us. So because it's that way now, it's just not accepted. And speaking from personal experience, yeah, the church really doesn't rock with us the way that I would say they should, but they don't, and it's a, whew. Yeah, and I believe just because of what the people have done to it is why the church don't accept it the way they should accept it.
So I got a question. I got a question.
Helen just put a nice comment in there, bro.
What
Helen
she
Ellis.
say?
She said because hip hop has no boundaries. That's why.
Sometimes,
Like,
You know?
that's the real.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is very true.
So
That
let
makes
me
think of another conversation.
let me ask this question. Let me play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not as accepted by the church. And here's the question. Somebody, especially in a more traditional setting, would say, well, can you catch the Holy Spirit from the church? I mean, from hip hop? I mean,
Yeah.
when I listen to when some people listen to the gospel, when they listen to Yolanda Adams, when they listen to Kurt Carr, when they listen to Anthony Brown, they can say, oh, I catch the Holy Spirit. Like there's something about the Spirit of God that comes over me. But does hip hop offer that same course? Can you feel the Holy Spirit from hip hop?
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, is like, I mean, we know, like, we got to look at what the Holy Spirit really is. And the Holy Spirit,
Mm.
in the Bible, it says the Holy Spirit was sent to us to be a comforter. So can I find comfort in hip hop? Absolutely. I do it all the time. I did it earlier today when life was crazy. You feel me? Like I threw on some tracks and it was like, all right, we back in the groove. Now we getting back to work. I found inspiration. I found a reason to go forward through hip hop. And I think it's more. It's changing the mindset of what we think catching the Holy Spirit is all the time. It's like it doesn't have to be, oh my God, I'm running around the church, or I'm laid out in the Spirit. It could be, no, I'm just so inspired right now, and I feel so much inside of me that I'm overflowing now with creativity, and I'm overflowing now with productivity, and it's all going for the benefit of the kingdom. And that could be me catching the Holy Spirit, and I can have that through hip hop. I can find that in hip hop, and I also think, bro, like Ray, me and you, we had an experience that let us know we could absolutely feel the spirit through hip hop, man. We was in Orlando and it went crazy, bro. It was like
Yeah,
KB on stage, literally had a whole room of, let's say, 1,000, youth
yeah,
screaming, "I believe that we can win. I believe that we can win." And me and Ray, like, I had to find my bro. I knew he was in the room. I had to find him and look at him. Oh, that's the pic right there. That's
yeah. That's the picture. I did.
crazy. That was at the event, right? But bro, I had to find my guy, and I'm just like, yo, this is it. Like, this is it, bro. This is hip hop meets church meets beautiful union meets lifting up meets uplifting the youth meets, like, it's everything right now. And like, we had that experience standing there, like, oh my God, this is so lit, and it's lit for the right reasons.
So I think Vanessa, thank you. Paul spoke. He said the church just likes to have something to demonize. Vanessa says hip hop is frequently linked to secular music. I think the church is more accepting of hip hop music when they can clearly hear and understand the words. If people can't understand the lyrics, they immediately link it to secular music. But the problem with that is, then that becomes the institutional church's problem, right?
Right.
It's not hip hop's problem, because hip hop is authentic to itself. That becomes the church's problem, the institute. And let's make sure we define church. Church, if we had a working definition, is by God is the people, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I think what I'm defining it is right now is the institutional church, which is the building or the establishment or the policy of church, right? And so there's this game that you have to play, which sort of defeats, which sort of it negates the authenticity that comes from hip hop in the first place, right? Because hip hop is all about authenticity. It was originated out of authenticity, out of being able to speak how you feel and feel how you speak.
I mean,
But
it
then
was
again, like
originated out of
church is
it.
supposed to be.
See, but this is what I'm saying. Like, we can even break that down even more. The hip hop came from, like, literally instruments that would be in the heart, in, like, in the inner cities within New York City, having the instruments go to uptown to play for, the Hasidity folks. The instruments, the live music, everything that people say like is missing from hip hop, it was born without it being there. Like, all the instruments went uptown and people didn't have anything to listen to. And so now it's like, oh, but we got this record. So we throw the record on. You know what I mean? Now somebody talking over the record. Oh, wait, that's an MC. That's it was born out of that. It was born organically and born authentically. So it can't be anything but authentic. It won't allow itself to be anything but authentic. And so and I think that sometimes is the struggle, because with that comes the power struggle that sometimes church goes through, where church can't tell, and Christians can't tell hip hop what to be, because it's going to be itself. And that's a struggle. I mean, in any arena, that has been a struggle for the church. I mean, we look back to, we can go back to the Crusades, and people, like, that's been a struggle for the church since the church started, is not being able to tell someone else what to do and them just go with it.
You know, Miss Nikki says, when in the building, you have to fit the mold and the image. What I love that, right? Because there is an image that for some reason, when you're in church, depending on the church. Pastor Monica says, yes, you can feel the Holy Spirit through hip hop. It's more about the connection to the words and allowing the words to serve inside of you. I want to talk about that. If there's a moment where the institutional church rejects this because they don't understand it. We can say there's lack of understanding. And 3J, there's something that you said to me the other day in a conversation. You talked about the fact that the church does a good job of rejecting what it should accept. Can you sort of relate to that in terms of why you talked about this?
Oh man, so you trying to get dirty already? Fine. All right. So that conversation, he's trying to start already. God, this got hot in here, but it's fine. The conversation that we had about it, we had a compare and contrast, and I compared, well, not even compared, I put hip hop in the state of Christ. Now, everybody was like, well, how did you get Christ and hip hop and be able to put them together like that? Well, let's look at what hip hop is. Like Brother Brennan said, hip hop cannot be conformed. It can't be changed. The message can't be changed. What he said to do is exactly what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you pay attention to Jesus and how he was with the Pharisees and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they tried to conform him. They tried to stop him from doing the things he was doing, and yet Jesus was like, "Nah, this is me. There's no way that you can stop me from what I was set to do, what I was purposed to do, let alone what I was given to do." And that's the same as hip hop. Hip hop, you can't tell it what to do. You can't, oh, well, we're going to make it like this. No, hip hop is, I'm this, and that's what it is. The same as Jesus was. I'm this, and that's what it is. There's no changing in that. There is no, jumping over the bar, nothing. There is nothing you could be able to stop me, period. Even when the flesh of Christ was gone, the spirit still lived on. Meaning, with hip-hop, you can take it away all you want to and try to stop it, but the spirit of hip-hop, the gift of hip-hop is forever going to live on. We foul for trying to start that conversation early like that, but
I think it's important, right? Because people need to have a narrative of where we're at. Susie kind of commented, you're right, Susie. She said, I remember when contemporary gospel wasn't accepted until my generation made it acceptable. Now the next generation is bringing hip hop. And she says it will be accepted as well. I kind of remember when Kirk Franklin came out, and to those who were
don't think that gospel music has gone too far. Right. It's right there in one of his most famous lines.
It's true.
But let's please touch on that song. Please touch on that song because I want to touch on.
I mean, we can stay there, right?
Yeah,
when I think about the fact that Kirk Franklin was rebuked by the church. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally rebuked by the church, and now all of a sudden, he is one of the most accepted artists, gospel artists in the world. Mm-hmm. But there are people who still think it has gone too far. The bass line, it's too secular. His moving across the stage is way too much. Just go sit down. Right? Like, why are we so slow to accept evolution? Why are we so slow to accept Jesus in all forms of art?
You want me to go, or you want?
Look, I'm sitting here.
You want this one?
Oh,
you can take. You go.
I got something else for that. So go ahead, bro.
I mean, again, it goes to that power struggle thing, man. Like the church, and I mean, and I don't even want to say just the church. I think people in general, we often fear what we can't control. And understanding that hip hop isn't something that we can control is something that the church has struggled with, because you can't tell hip hop how to be, because hip hop is going to rebel. It's a rebellion in itself. When the instruments were taken away, they found a way to still express themselves through the same songs that they used to listen to now instead of in person. And I think that nature, and I think how the church has often approached new things, and hip hop being one of those new things of, oh, you come in and you fit into this box that we have set aside, or this lane we have set aside for you. We'll have this on Youth Sunday, and that's it. Hip hop doesn't work like that. Hip hop can start on a Sunday and take over the whole Sunday. You feel me? If you, it's like, oh man, it's just, hip hop is a movement. It's really like the unstoppable force and the immovable object. Hip hop is that unstoppable force that is going. If we look at hip hop just in what is done in the world, it's the number one streamed genre, in the world, not just in America, in the world now. You think about that, the growth from coming from New York City now to being the number one genre in the world is crazy. Is crazy.
Agree.
and that's done just out of its own authenticity and organic growth. And so, like, when the church comes in and tries to say, "Oh, we need you to help reach our youth, or we need you to help reach this group of people," hip hop's like, "No, we do what we do, and you can join with us, but we're not just gonna curtail and yes massa and join in your plan. We have our own plan, and we can partner. We can be together, but it's not going to be, just just you tell us what to do, and we do it for you."
Right.
One of the things that's interesting, Sister Ellis, Helen Ellis, she said earlier, she said hip hop sometimes has no boundaries. Sister Helen Ellis, I say this, that's so churchy. Sister Helen.
Hey, bro, listen, you was calling
and
everybody sister and brother. I'm like, bro, he a pastor for real,
listen,
bro. He
but
can't even
that's the
he
way.
can't even get
That's
out
the
of
way.
it for the pastor for the hip hop conversation. He just
You know
sister
what I'm
this
saying?
and
But listen,
sister that,
it's
brother
also my way of
this.
showing respect to folks that I know are older. Like so because I don't want to call them by their first name, I'll be like sister. It's always cool if you don't say miss, you gotta say sister. You know what I'm saying? But I think that
I so agree with what Mr. Murray said.
Pastor Murray, yeah,
I agree with that.
it just takes a few pastors to become a hip hop church, and the growth happens, and everyone will get on the bandwagon.
I absolutely
Yeah,
agree with that.
I hear you. I think that's the key, though, right? Like, and I think, but I think what we have to wrestle with is this notion of being open. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the origins of hip hop, and we're going to do a lot of that next week. I can't wait. Next week we have this dope guy coming on. He is a PhD. And he is. I see.
Yo, she. Hella letting you know, bro. Chill out, bro. Chill out.
Listen.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
For the rest of the encounter, I'm just gonna say Helen. Helen got it. Listen. But let's talk about the history and
I'm getting in trouble, y'all.
we have a dope guy coming on next week. He's got his PhD. He's what we call an educational MC, and he goes and he teaches through hip hop. What I want to talk about, though, is the fact that we also have to look at the lens of culture. I think when we look at the established church, right, we have to wrestle with the fact that church in this country was established in a very Anglo-Saxon way, right? So we really come from the foundations of church in Europe, right, in Eastern Europe. And then it kind of comes over here. Even if you follow like John Wesley, even if you follow the Catholic Church, right, it all kind of came over from this very Anglo-Saxon place. And so if church does not look like that model of, if it doesn't, Susie is Helen's daughter, by the way.
Well, yeah, we figured that one out. They pulled up.
They light me up. But listen, if church doesn't look this very quiet hour, this very sacred hour, so for that Anglo-Saxon church, it had to be the very quiet hour, the very Anglo-Saxon quiet hour anthems and quiet hymns. But if you travel just a little further east over to the land of Africa, right, you'll find that when they celebrate God, there's a lot of movement in your body, right? There's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of rhythm, right? And so we have to wrestle with what are we accepting and what's the foundation of the model that we use for church. Because if we're not careful, we get ourselves caught in that Anglo-Saxon model of church, and we miss that God is bigger than Europe, that God is bigger than London, that God is bigger than Paris, that God is bigger than the West, but God expands over everywhere. And so we have to be careful when we start to look at how church is done. You know what I'm saying?
Before we continue, I'm not gonna let the chat continue to come at my guy Ray like this, bro. Like the comment section got to chill. They fired my boy up, man.
It's all right. If I could erase Charles's comment, I would. I wish I could just erase the comment. Like, yeah, but that's kind of where I land, right? Like, I think one of the problems is we got to be more comfortable with embracing our own selves, with embracing our own culture. Miss Nikki says there's no right specific way to worship God. Like, why can't we be loud when we praise God? Why can't we move more when we believe when we're believing in God? Why can't we practice? And I think hip hop does a lot of that, right? Like hip hop challenges us to move. to groove, to find our rhythm, to dance.
And I think, I mean, when you broke it back to the Eastern Europe, like, origins and how that has, found its way over here. I think you think about even their power structures, it was a hierarchy. Most nations in Eastern Europe were hierarchies, and they had a king or a ruler or a magistrate, whatever they wanted, and that's whatever that person said was law. And the church has taken on that culture, in some ways ignoring, God's perfect plan for the church. But they've taken on that culture and made it so that we operate in that same way, and the church expects that. And that is completely contrary to hip hop. But I mean, like that hierarchy system, it doesn't work because that system is kind of what birthed hip hop out of I mean, it it birthed it out of pain, out of not having what we wanted, because those things were taken because they were supposed to be at the aristocratic and high society places. The instruments, the musicians, all of that went uptown, and that was taken away by the powers that be. And hip hop revolted against that and created itself. And so it's like you can't then turn around and try and represent that same hierarchical system to this culture that created itself in rebellion of hierarchy.
Sounds a little bit like Jesus.
It sounds a lot like Jesus to me.
The more that we do this, man, the more I kind of get this relationship between Jesus and the church is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost sounds like a power struggle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It almost sounds like this place where the church, the institutional church, refuses to acknowledge hip hop because hip hop sounds like it threatens its culture, especially the institutional church, right? I mean,
so the question is, does it though? Does it actually put a threat to the church institution because it's a different sound of music? Is it actually a threat? Is it actually something bad for the church? I think we need to actually question that. Like, why is hip hop considered bad being inside of the church? Just because it's a different sound of music, and we use bass lines and we use just all type of instruments, yet we're still singing. You know what I'm saying? So with that, are we really as bad in the church and really don't belong in there as people say that we do, or say that we are? I think we really need to really say, yo, are we really bad? Yes or no? And if we're not, then why don't you accept us for why is it that you can't accept us? I think that's the main question for it.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to all the people who are watching all over the world. Like this, share this on your page, share this with other people. Make sure you leave a comment. We have tons of comments coming in. Pastor Murray says this. See, that is one problem in the church. Everyone has to have a title. In hip hop, we have no titles. We are all artists.
Right. We're a community.
And I think, I mean, and just to piggyback off of that, like in hip hop, you get the title if you nice.
Facts.
Like you don't just get given the title of, oh, nah, that's a dope MC. No, you got to prove it first. And that's different for the church too, because a lot of times in church, like with that hierarchical system, if I've been here, even if I haven't been effective, I can get a title. You feel me? And so like that's the struggle that the church often sometimes has with hip hop, because that ain't how hip hop work. You don't just get a title because you such and such. Nah. You got to be nice. Like Jay-Z isn't Jay-Z if he hasn't proven for the last umpteen years that he's one of the best rappers we've ever seen in life. Like he's one of the best lyricists we've ever seen. He doesn't just get that title because he is who he is. I mean, not to even bring him up, but we kind of see that with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like he had a buzz and like he got the name, and it was like, nah, fam, you're not nice, so you don't.
A dope MC is a dope MC.
Yeah, I mean,
Facts.
There's nothing else to say to that.
So let's compare. Let's kind of do this comparing and contrasting, right? We do see that. I'll read this comment real quick from Minister Monica. I feel it's because of the negative connotations that come from hip hop outside of the church. Some feel it's too raw. So to bring that into the church walls is wrong. There is a blockage
Oh, let's get into that. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
I'm about to put the S on my chest for this one.
Are closed to it.
Let's get dirty. Let's do. Woo.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brady. Go ahead, Brady. Get dirty.
That's the real question. And at the same time, when we question and we compare Jesus to hip hop, we have to look at and compare. Why wasn't Jesus accepted? And it was because he was just that. He was raw. He was real. He didn't sugarcoat it to make people's feelings feel better, especially not within the church. And he held them to the standard of the Bible. And that's and I think that's the other thing the church struggles with is we don't always want to be held to the standard of the Bible we say we read, but we want other people to abide by that standard. And a perfect example is even with this kind of severed relationship between hip hop and the church, a lot of churches expect hip hop to come to them. But the Bible says if you have an art with your friend, or you have an art with your brother, your sister, you're supposed to go to them, not them come to you. And so when does the church then take ownership of that biblical text and come to hip hop and say, hip hop, how can we be better in relationship?
Yeah. Because here's the thing, for me, it's like, I think we got to go back to kind of what you guys have said so much, right? Church is not... Church is not...
Oh, baby, church, we like it raw. That's funny.
Oh, hey, yo, he's giving me life, though.
Yeah, listen, y'all don't know. Shout out to Pastor Murray, man. Hey, Pastor Murray is...
The comment section is lit, bro. It's on fire.
Peace, man. And Pastor Tommy was a big fan of the Will from the very beginning, man. I think we have to, I think that's a place to stick a thumbtack, right? Like to say people want hip hop to conform to it. But here's my problem. The church, we are very convenient about using cliche things when it benefits us. So we say things like, no, come as you are. The church is open arms to everybody. The church welcomes everybody. You can come off the street coming into church, and God's going to love you. We're going to love you. And here's the problem. We're going to love you if you choose to conform to what our traditions are. The problem is people aren't saying, right. The problem is people are not willing to say, I will love you and try to understand you, and I will even challenge my own system of belief because you might be right and I might be wrong.
Sounds so much like
that's the place that boggles me, because the institutional church used to be the voice of black folks. It used to be the voice of the world. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem.
But guess what it is now?
If you ain't careful, hip-hop has slid in. And let me tell you why. Because hip-hop allows itself to be authentic. It doesn't, yes, I get it, that there are certain forms of hip-hop that talk about raunchy, but guess what? When half of y'all ain't in church, y'all go home and get just as raunchy. Woo! So the problem is, you don't want authentic. You just wanted to fit into your mode of traditionalism, and you wanted to step into the church and be something that is not like you choose to do on a Sunday morning. Because God forbid the pastor walk in and talk about the club he was at, or talk about who he was listening to, or talk about the sex he had, or talk about the joint he's smoking, because y'all don't want that. Y'all don't want people to be authentic. Y'all want... let me stop because I'm getting upset.
No, keep going.
This upsets me because the church always hollers on that bandwagon, I want you to be authentic. Baby, you don't want authentic. You don't want authenticity. You want conformity. And the institutional church has to understand the reason you are losing out is because hip-hop is authentic and it welcomes everybody in, no matter how raw or real, and it is different ways. I'm not saying you have to be accepting of it, but you do have to challenge your own system and say, am I willing to allow them to be authentic? All right, I'm done.
But see, and before I let you finish, bro, that's the problem hip-hop has. Like, if you tell me to come as I am and I come as I am, and you immediately reject me for being who I am, then it's all right, bro. deuces. We out of here. What else are we gonna do here? Like, you not real. And that's not like anything not real in hip hop. Ghostwriters aren't allowed in hip hop. For what reason? Every other genre, you can have someone else write your lyrics, but not hip hop. Because you have to be real in hip hop. You have to be authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do I say to that? Like, how can you come back? Like, what can you say after all that? Like, I think the only thing that I can follow up, honestly, what you said when you said, if you don't accept it, deuces. If you think about it, we go back into the conversation how Jesus did. When you did not accept Jesus' word, or they didn't take you as you are, all right, dust your shoes off, roll out. And that's exactly what he told his disciples to do. You know, it was a simple, all right, you go give the message. If they don't accept you, dust your shoes off, walk away. If they do accept you, by all means, stay there. You know what I'm saying? And continue to spread off the message. If they don't want it, you go to the next one that's may want it. Or you know what I'm saying? Or you just go to the next destination. And that's hip hop alone. It goes to the next destination. It continues to flow without no stipulation, there's no bars or nothing on it. It's okay, you don't like me? Cool, I'm gone. I'm to the next people. They don't like me? Cool, gone. Next people. Oh, they rock with me. Let me give them a little bit more so they can understand me, since they want to get to know me. And that's how Jesus was. You want to get to know me, to understand me, by all means, I'll stay. But if you don't, I'm going to kick off and go to the next thing, or to the next person that wants to know about what it truly is and what it is of this authentic thing that I carry. You know what I'm saying? So you done took it.
Even within hip hop, though, we see that, though. Even within hip hop, we see that. And that's why this isn't even something that is specific, like between, like all of this isn't specific between hip hop and church. Like, even within hip hop can't tell itself what to do. Like, we just seen a whole wave of mumble rappers that I didn't necessarily like, and a bunch of hip hop heads didn't necessarily like, but it's here, fam, and ain't nothing we can do about it. Like, you have to accept it, and you learn to, all right, I'm gonna pick the pieces I like out of it, I'm gonna pick the artists I like, and the rest of that, y'all can have that.
Yeah, I love it. Pastor Murray says, let's stop playing and start a hip hop church. What's stopping us?
Hey, what? Nothing.
But you know, listen. In some ways, let me say this, right? And y'all, if you can't take me being real, then you might want to cut off for a quick second. When I started the well, I'm gonna tell you the truth of where it was started, and I can't find this girl's poem anywhere. The conference, my conference had asked me what would I do to maybe attract this generation, and when I came up with the thought of the well, I was sitting at home, I was on Facebook, and there was this young girl, and her poem it touched me so much, man. Like, she was crying. She had lost a few folks to, like, violence. Her brother, and maybe like a cousin, and somebody. It was like maybe 4 or 5 folks that she had lost in a very quick time span. And she had this poem that was so authentic. Her language was so raw. You know, Pastor Murray said that earlier, talking about this raw language. And she said, she was like, after the streets, after UCK, the streets, right? Like, they can have my ASSD kids, because I know I have a God, and that God is going to look out for me anyway. And I know that my people are still with God, and the Holy Spirit is carrying me, and I don't give a damn if blah, 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 but Jesus has my back. And it was this conundrum of my head. Like, my head exploded from, like, oh my God. Like, she's cursing. She's using all the language that the church don't want to hear, and yet she is authentically in the spirit. Like, you could feel her love of God on her. And I was like, like, I need that place. How do I find that place? How do I find that place? Me and my mom have this conversation all the time about cursing, because, like, church has gotten so traditional that we just believe stuff because it's tradition of what we've been taught. But even when you look at, like, cursing, right? Like, curse words are nowhere in the Bible, right? Like, curse words are... Because listen, we play this game, and I don't like
curse words were created by church.
I'm not. Let me say this real quick. Mm-hmm. I'm not condoning that everyone should just go out and start cursing wherever they go. I do believe that there is a time and a place for everything. There are seasons, all sort of seasons under the sun. So please hear me.
Cussing.
But what I will say is this: How can I say damn and darn mean the same thing, and you take offense to one, but it's okay for me to say the other? How can I say shoot and then the other word, what I won't say right now? I'm not gonna say it, but because I don't want to offend, because I want people to still stay in. But how can I say those two things? And we gotta get over the
It's
way.
fake. It's fake.
Dang,
It's fake, bro. It's fake. Like, just keep it a bean. It's fake, bro. To switch up the word when I want to say something else, that's like, I mean, like, absolutely, there's appropriate times for it. But it's fake. And like, especially, and this is something that the church has to deal with itself, because the church created curse words. And it was like, and I've done research about this because I have always tried to understand like why these set of words were chosen as curse words when we have a dictionary filled with thousands of words. Like what was so specific about, you know, the top five, you know? Like what was so specific about it? But we have to, like, the church created those because it was the dialect of the lower class, and the church was the middle class, and they didn't want people using that language. So they made it church policy that if you use that language, you are sinning. And they use the Bible to justify it. So it's nothing more than another way for somebody else to say the same thing you're saying. Like, the words don't mean anything different. It's just a different set of letters. And so if that's the case, then we have literally chastised, demonified, called people all types of things for nothing more than something that we created. And the church has to deal with that in an authentic way of acknowledging the pain we've caused because we just decided that these words were bad and you shouldn't use them because it was somebody else's language. Like, that's like right now, if we just decided to say Spanish was, anything you said in Spanish was cussing. And like, you can't say it. It's a sin to speak in the Spanish language. Like, you see how crazy that is? But that's what we've lived under for our entire lives. And right now, it's even I was thinking like, bro, part of me was thinking like, yo, you just should have just said it. And then my other side was like, nah, fam, we know that, you know, understanding that some people like it and things like that. But in that same respect, it's like, no, you're getting offended based on a lie. This isn't a sin. Like, if he says the word, it's not a sin just because the church said so. Like, I don't, and that's the struggle, but that's the culture that the church has been used to operating under, of saying something and allowing that to be the rule of the land. That doesn't happen anymore. And that's the struggle that the church is going through. And if they don't address it, even with hip hop, the church will be here every generation.
Yeah. Pastor Tommy said something that's very important right here on this note. In the Bible, when they came to John the Baptist, they said, "You brood of vipers." When that was said, they were literally getting cursed out, and that is very true. It is. That was. And I think you mentioned that before, didn't you?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they was probably cussing back then. We just don't know it because we don't know that dialect. Like, it was probably looked at like, you're not supposed to say that to such and such. Like, I mean, like, and listen, this is my personal view and my personal view of Jesus. Like, I'm not flipping no tables over in my Father's house telling y'all to get out and not cussing. Like, let's keep it real. Like, I'm not going to use the most peaceful language to tell you that, like, no, you like, you're defiling my Father's house. It's not going to be a peaceful conversation.
What I love about this format, man, and this is my intentions of the well. Let me say this very clear. The well is not to give you an answer or totally change your mind. The well is to make you do the deep dive. Too many times, I think we as Christians and in the traditional institutional church, we allow ourselves to just accept this place that we've been brought to by tradition. And then what I think we have to do is allow ourselves to challenge ourselves to go, what if that's right? Right? Like, what? Dang, I never thought about it that way. Are you willing to push yourself past your place of comfortability?
What if it's right for them? Not necessarily even for me. Because we also have to always think like this journey we're on as Christians is a personal journey. And so what works for me won't work for everybody else. What works for everybody else won't work for me. So what if it's exactly what they need to make sure that they stay on the path that God needs them to stay on?
You're being too progressive, Brennan.
Jesus didn't offer the same healing.
My
You wanted to
fault.
curse at me. You wanted to curse at me.
You seen the throw up high. My fault. It was a twitch. Oh, catch it, bro. Don't do that.
Charles, I saw Charles. He said, and I gotta say, we could stand for more dope spiritual MCs. Let's talk about that. When we talk about Christian MCs, when we talk about Christian hip hop artists, right? We're allowed to come to church if we are right, not cursing. If we are, if we're not, and again, I'm not trying to condone being offensive, but sometimes we have to be very careful because when we want people not to be offensive, we're almost asking them to not be authentic. So we have to be careful because I think, Brittany, you said something that's dope. What if it's right for me? Let me make this clear. I want to stick to this point real quick. Just give me a second to make this clear for all the people who are on with us. There are certain parts of Africa where, and certain parts of other lands, even over in Eastern society, where you can still marry more than 3 people, right?
Yep.
And those people are practicing Christians who it is a custom in their land. If you go to Old Testament, right, we got a good look at some of that in the Old Testament. There are some places where spiritually people don't eat red meat. There are some places where spiritual people wear coverings, and we got to be very careful because let's be clear, that is not just a Muslim thing. In the Bible, in the Christian Bible, it talks about wearing coverings.
So it does.
There are certain people in certain lands that have markings on their body for Christ. We would say tattoos for Christ. So we have to be careful to think that, because America does this thing of, my culture is the right culture. Whatever we do is what's right. And we won't push our own selves to explore the theology, the diversity in theology, and go, but Jesus is not in my box. Right? And that's the place where we have to allow ourselves to be more uncomfortable. So now let's go back. Let's talk about these spiritual MCs that Charles brought up. If you could talk about these MCs.
Fam, no. I'm with Charles. Fam, I'm struggling. I don't know how they did it, bro. I'm fighting for my life with the one I have. I love her to death, but I'm fighting for my life with the one I have. Like, fam, 3, I'm gone. I'm out.
If we could talk about this context, let's break this in this context. Let's talk about then what we deem spiritual rappers. Who would you say are some of the best spiritual rappers?
Well, the first question I go into is, what is a spiritual rapper? I think that's the first question we need to define. What is considered a spiritual Christian gospel rapper? What is that considered as? Brother Mo, what would you say? What would you think, bro? Because I think we need to again define.
I could run down my list.
I mean, no,
might be here. I think a spiritual rapper is someone that takes the time to, like, I mean, and for me, it goes beyond just putting the words together. It's the message behind the words. Even if I'm putting the words together and my messaging isn't like edifying and like the creative way to tell the stories of the things we've been through, to tell it in a way that is like not glorifying it, but it's like, yo, this is what I went through, and this is where I came from in going through it. And so for me, it's like the uplifting story, even if it's like the first verse is exactly what I went through, and it's like not necessarily the most clean, but that second verse, you take me from how you went from here to going to where you are now and how you progressed as a human. Like, that's spiritual rap to me. That's spiritual hip hop. That's someone that is telling a story that is beyond just, this is where I am. No, I'm taking you a step further. This is how I made it to where I am now. This is where I was. I'm taking you a step further to where I am now.
So it sounds like my first, if I had to go by that rule, then my first top spiritual hip hop rapper would have to be Jesus. Because I think the parables were just that.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, wait, what? But I got what you.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I got both. Man.
I mean, but that yeah, it was
I was
literally
like,
creative
what?
storytelling, man. And it is
Yeah.
the same thing in essentially in hip hop is creative storytelling.
Yeah.
What's your list? Give me your list.
We talking about listening. God, please. Oh man. Vernon, start off first, bro. Hey, go ahead and start off first.
I know Pastor Tommy got some input in this one too.
So when we say spiritual, are we talking everybody or just within the
Just
gospel?
your list. Go ahead, bring your
We're
list.
talking everybody.
Are we talking everybody?
Don't do that because you don't ever do that. Don't do that.
So, I know this is about to sound awkward, but we had this conversation before. My top, I would have to say, is DMX. And a lot of people are not going to understand, like, well, DMX, what, he's a secular artist. If you paid attention to this man's story, if you paid attention to the testimony behind it, of how he was a dark man living in the lifestyle that he was living in, and he overcame, and by his third CD, which was Then It Was X, he overcame everything and got back to Christ. Like, literally, this man told you the whole lifestyle, how he was literally living in hell on earth, going through what he was going through. And he did bring it off in a vulgar way. However, he always brought God back in his way of trying to get back to God. So he will be my number one when it comes to spiritual gospel, whatever you want to call it. He will be my number one. Then you have Lecrae. Then you have the 116 clip. That whole, it's a lot of them to name. And
Whole team.
Yeah, that whole entire team. It's a lot of them to name.
Humble Beast out in the West Coast.
Tone, oh my God, B Slade, I gotta say is, whoo. If y'all don't know who B Slade is the old Tone that was back in the gospel world. Him now, whoa, that boy is dangerous. He's something serious. Man, it's a lot of. I can even throw Jay-Z in that category for real. Like, I really could.
Yo, his album before 444 was like, I mean, I know y'all go beyond, but 444 was like a whole, like,
man.
Listen,
What?
So some of y'all right now like, well, who is? Listen, let's break it down. I want you to go check these people out: B Slade, Eddie Mineo, Lecrae, DMX,
the whole 116 click,
Jay-Z,
KB, Propaganda,
right?
Beautiful Eulogy.
Oh yeah, who else? Who else, Brandon?
Beautiful Eulogy, Propaganda, some dope dudes out west. My personal favorite, Wale and J. Cole. Wale from the DMV era. Shout out to the DMV. I know y'all had some craziness up there yesterday, but I'm glad that got settled. I had some rioters up there yesterday, but I'm glad that got settled.
I didn't see that. I forgot about that one. Kendrick Lamar.
Right. Kendrick Lamar, but J. Cole, and for me personally, I can explain why I put J. Cole in that, because I was reading, I believe it's Matthew 16:11, where Jesus says, "I'm sending," and he talking to his disciples, "I'm sending you into the field. I'm sending you into a field of wolves, and I need you to be as as shrewd as a snake, and as innocent as a dove." And for me, it took a long time for me to try to figure out like what that really meant. And I figured it out through a J. Cole song. And it was his song "High for Hours," and it's something, Ray, I told you about. And literally the last lines in the song is, "What good is taking over when we know what you're gonna do? The only real revolution happens right inside of you." And so what that did for me was help me understand that I have to, whatever I'm doing, I'm responsible for my actions. I'm responsible for how I respond. And if I don't take the time to be responsible and to respond in the way I feel like is most edifying spiritually for myself, then I'm the wrong. And then I'm part of the problem. I'm being everything I want to stop. If I don't take the time to make sure that I don't continue in those actions, if I don't be as innocent as a dove in spite of everything going on around me, then I'm part of the problem. And that song, that verse, that music helped me understand that piece of the Bible. So it's like, fam, what we doing here?
Yeah. Give it to the people one more time. The song and the author.
This man said
High for
Composer.
Hours. In the
Song and composer. Composer.
huh?
Just so the people who are watching can go check it out. What's the song? What's the artist?
Oh, you said composer. Yeah, I was ignoring that. But High for Hours is the song. J. Cole is the artist, bro. High for Hours and the song is J. Cole. It's the last line of the song. And basically he actually talking about America in that. And how like we literally like I think one of the first lines of the song is like the irony of people coming over here to be free and end up owning slaves. Like, how does that work out? How do you come over to America to be free and end up owning slaves? Like, and he talks about the power struggle of how they left the British Empire to be free and to be different from them, but end up creating something that was just the same.
And I want to lift up people like Lauryn Hill, Outkast, Andre 3000,
Yes.
Rhapsody, and what was it? Yellow Pain,
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest, Nipsey Hussle.
Oh man. Now you trying to go
And I always remember to get my guy's name, man. Every time we did this, but the guy, try Jesus.
It began with a T.
Toby,
Me.
my guy. Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah.
Listen, this has been a great conversation, man, and I think that we have done. I hope that we have opened the ears to the folks that have been. So Pastor Tommy said that he's telling his age.
ARS1, most deaf, absolutely. And listen, we can go back there if y'all want to. We can go there.
Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, we can go down the list if we need to. Like we can. Like that's a.
Again, I think we want to make sure people understand. Most deaf. I think we want people to. Yes, there is Lady Nikki. Miss Nikki, there is a part 2. There's also a part 3. Next week, we're going to be talking to a gentleman, Dr. Tony Keith, who is an education MC. So listen, I want you to make sure you guys have shared this with other people. Share this in your networks. We're going to get even deeper next week, and we're going to get even more raw. I love that word that Pastor Tony brought. We're going to get more raw next week. And we're going to talk a lot more.
Wu-Tang, absolutely. My fault. We can't disrespect the Wu like that. Wu-Tang, absolutely.
Wu-Tang, part of the movement, part of the whole movement. Can we do this? I wanted to take a moment and there's we all have these amazing sweatshirts and hoodies on. Mine says Jesus saves. Brendan says Jesus saves. And
hold on, let me turn on my light a little bit.
And so he'll come back.
He's gone.
Listen, these.
Oh yeah, I had to turn down the light a little bit so they can see.
That's it. That's it right there. That's it.
Oh, y'all got the same one.
There's and our producer Jackie has a picture of Julian and I. We took one earlier. We're going to do this and add Brendan to the picture next week. If you see Park Royale, a friend of mine who started his own clothing line.
Shout out,
David, who is Park Royale. You can see it up there in the top. Check out his Instagram page. It is Park Royale. I'm sorry, I should have given that to our producer, super producer Jackie as well. But you'll find it. He made these specifically for us. Now let me say this: Park Royale is not it is a Christian company because the owner is Christian. But he has all types of different lines. So you'll see underwear, you'll see socks, you'll see rompers, you'll see all sorts of things. But he made this line that he's gonna. I don't want to give the name out because he hasn't totally copywritten it yet. But he wants a part of his line to make sure that it is a Christian. It does have the foundations of a spiritual and Christian element. So I want to give him a shout out and just say, hey. And so if you get a chance, go and order something from him, and let him know that you. He said maybe 2 seconds. Let them know Park Royale that we sent you over there. You got this from the well. I will definitely.
Miss Nikki trifling. Miss Nikki trifling for that comment, bro.
Because she said it might be 2 seconds. Listen. For all the folks who are watching, especially my white folks, when we say trifling, it's not like we're saying we're not trying to like offend somebody. It's just our lingo. Okay, just want to put it out there. It's our lingo. We got to listen. You got to break it down for the culture. You got to break it down for the culture. Listen, it takes money to do this. So listen, we do ask that you consider joining. Listen, also make sure you give. Even if you give $1, I want to make sure you're in our network. So we do have emails now, both emails that are coming out. So if you want to text to give, it's at 84321. Text that number with any dollar amount, $1, $50, $100. We are really trying to build up this year in the year 2021, and it takes all of you partnering with us to spread this kind of word, the untraditional, unchurched church, and make a movement that, listen, it could be a powerful movement. Think about how many folks that are not in the traditional church setting that we can reach if you just partner with us to help us reach those folks. Again, check out the website, www.encounterthewell.org. You can go there, and at the last tab is give. Follow us on all of our social media. Everything is Encounter the Well. Facebook, Encounter the Well. Instagram, Encounter the Well. Partner with us. Get to know what's going on, and then add us to. Make sure you send us an email so that we can connect with you and send you all of the information that's coming out. Because I'm also going to post up how you can get some of these clothes, these dope clothes by my boy David in Park Royale. And we were looking for sponsors. So if you want to see yourself advertised, your stuff advertised, if you're an artist, we have a director of arts. We don't have a director of music. We have a director of arts. So if you sing, if you do poetry, if you're a hip hop artist, we can feature you. We love to feature you. And when we get back in person, we want to hire you and bring you in for a dope show and a dope time. You do not have to be a specific gospel artist. You can be an artist that talks about positivity, love, life, expression, whatever that is. Let us know. And I see Vanessa put Park Royale in the chat. Thank you so much for that, Vanessa. Yeah, I want to highlight my folks. Thank you, Pastor Tommy. We got Brother Brennan Booz. You can follow him at brennanbrews.com. That's his website. BRENNEN. There it is, right there. You can follow him at hisname.com.
Just add .com at the end, and you straight. Just add .com at the end. Brennan Booz. BRENNENBOOSE.
That's it. .com. You can follow Julian 3J Jackson at 3J113. His name is 3J. Just look it up on Facebook, look it up on Instagram, and he should pop up. He's an amazing hip hop performer. He's got some new music he's working on. Check out some of his old projects if you get a chance. And of course, I'm Pastor Ray. Definitely make sure that you follow the Amplify Network, who brings us to you live every Thursday. That's the Amplify Network. You can find us on. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on Twitter. You can find them on Facebook, Periscope. You can find them on all those streams of social media. Listen, we love you guys, man. We're so honored that you joined in with us. And I can't wait till next week. Brennan, I don't know how you feel. 3J, I don't know how you feeling. But listen, the devil tried to stop this entire thing from happening so many times.
Since the beginning of December.
Oh, man, listen. Real quick challenge in the notes. Somebody said,
oh yeah, you gotta spit something, 3J. Somebody, hey yo, they tested your gangster. You gotta spit something, bro.
Oh dang! I'm gonna put on blast like that.
While he's thinking about that, Susie,
hey bro, they told you like this is hip hop, fam. You on the corner now, man. You gotta show up for the cipher.
Oh man!
While he's thinking about that, Susie,
we're checking it, can't take it. No one got down, but feel like they won't take it. Every man for themselves.
Funny, you know what? I'm gonna actually give that verse out.
Go ahead. So spit something.
Oh man. Go ahead.
Susie, the page for Park Royale, Vanessa put in the chat. If you scroll up a little bit, Park Royale, the Instagram is right there in the chat. But go ahead, 3J. More fire. CJ said more fire.
Yeah. What was it? Gosh. Now I remember that I walked into a place. The people were gathered together, tears running down their face. Walked over to them and I asked, "What you crying for?" They said nothing. I'm replying, "What you lying for?" I felt the energy walking up to the door, and when I walked through, I felt your depression a little more. I asked because I care. You good? You need help? You feel like in WA? Express yourself. Nobody sees it. Rejected, can't take it. Knowing God's got them, but feel like they won't make it. Every man for themselves. Mentality don't care. People say they give their support, but they ain't there. And you would think they understood where they came from. They were there once too, the same thing they ran from. They crying silence because nobody will listen. Now what we going to do now that I brought this to y'all attention.
Hey,
Hey, that's the question for the night. That's the question for the night. That was the perfect bar to end on. That's the question for the night. Now that y'all know this, and now that we brought this to y'all attention, what we doing here? What we doing here? What we doing here now?
Shout out to the Amplify Network. Listen, so that people can be caught up next week when we get into the conversation, please share this. I will put up an event by tonight for next week. So please go to the Encounter the Well page tomorrow and press that you will be there. Let us know that you were there. Miss Nikki, we need some more poetry from you pretty soon. But reach out to us. Follow us on all of our social media. Don't forget to give. There is a toiletry drive happening on Martin Luther King's weekend. And we will have more about that next week. So please look out for that. There's a toiletry drive that you can partner with as well. If you give, you'll see a line item where it says toiletry drive. Please pitch in for that, guys. Pitch in as much as you can. And this year, let's do something different. Let's do something powerful. Let's follow the path to all of the 5 Ps. All right. Shout out to Amplify Network, and we will see you guys.
Hey, hold on. Look. This is what I'm gonna do. If the 15 people on this joint make it to week 3, I'm gonna spit an 8.
Woo! Hey man, I'm going to that bet. I'm marking that. Okay, I'm marking that.
And real quick, for those who are still watching, if you would like a shirt, then I am partnering up. The Well is partnering up with Park Royale to give away a few of his shirts, just like the ones that we have on. So please make sure you go to wearethewelldc.org. Send me an email. Make sure you send something up here. Just let us know that you're tuned in. Share us as many times as you can, and we are giving away free shirts. We will give away some shirts. So share this as much as you can. Share this as much as you can. And to the person who shares this the most, we have a shirt for you. I promise you. All right? Talk to you soon. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Tune in.
We out.